Deep in the dense forests of northern India lies a village that does not appear on any modern map. The locals call it Bangar, but the outsiders who stumbled upon it call it the village of the Weeping Stone. For centuries the elders have passed down a single terrifying rule. Never enter the ancient temple at the edge of the woods after the sun dips below the horizon. They say the temple belongs to a restless deity that was betrayed long ago, and anyone who interrupts the silence of the night becomes a part of the temple itself. For generations the villagers locked their doors at dusk, hiding away from the unnatural whispers that drifted from the forest. But in the age of social media, legends are just content waiting to be filmed. Marcus, an American travel vlogger known for exploring forbidden locations, decided this village would be the subject of his next viral video. He arrived with his camera gear, completely ignoring the terrified warnings of the local tour guides who refused to accompany him past the village borders. Marcus set up his base at a small abandoned hut near the tree line. As night began to fall, the air grew heavy and an eerie, unnatural quiet settled over the landscape. Not a single bird chirped, and even the wind seemed to die down, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Marcus smiled into his camera, telling his audience that the fear was all in the mind. He turned on his night vision lens and began his trek toward the ancient stone temple. The structure was magnificent yet deeply unsettling. Its walls were carved with intricate figures of ancient gods, but as Marcus looked closer he noticed something strange. The faces of the carved statues were twisted in expressions of pure agony and terror. He laughed it off, attributing it to the dramatic style of ancient artists. He pushed open the heavy wooden doors of the inner sanctum, which groaned loudly in protest, echoing through the hollow stone corridors. The air inside the temple was freezing cold, far colder than the night air outside. Marcus could see his own breath forming thick white clouds in front of his face. He walked deeper into the central chamber, where a massive stone idol sat shrouded in shadows. He pointed his camera at the idol, describing the intense atmosphere to his viewers. That was when his audio equipment began to malfunction. A sharp, high-pitched static noise filled his headphones, followed by a low rhythmic chanting that sounded like dozens of voices whispering in unison. Marcus checked his gear, but everything seemed functional. He looked up at the idol and his heart skipped a beat. The stone statue, which had been facing forward when he entered, was now tilted slightly toward him. Its blank rock eyes seemed to lock directly onto his camera lens. Panic started to set in, but Marcus forced himself to stay calm, convincing himself it was an optical illusion caused by his flashlights. He decided it was time to leave and turned back toward the exit. But as he walked down the corridor, he realized the hallway was stretching out infinitely. The doorway he had entered through was nowhere to be seen. Suddenly the heavy stone doors behind him slammed shut with a deafening crash, trapping him in absolute darkness. Marcus scrambled to turn on his secondary torchlight. When the beam cut through the dark, it illuminated the stone walls around him. The carved statues on the walls were no longer static. Their stone fingers were twitching and their eyes were tracking his every movement. A foul smell of decaying earth filled the corridor, making it hard for him to breathe. From the deepest corner of the chamber, a tall, dark figure began to manifest. It was not a shadow, but a being made of shifting black dust and ancient stone. Its footsteps made no sound, but the ground beneath Marcus vibrated with a terrifying energy. Marcus dropped his camera gear and ran in the opposite direction, screaming for help into the empty void. He could hear the stone statues on the walls cracking open, as if something inside them was trying to break free. He tripped over a loose stone and fell hard onto the cold floor. When he scrambled to his feet and looked back, he saw his own camera lying on the ground. The lens was pointed directly at him and the recording light was still flashing red. The dark entity was now standing directly over his camera. Marcus watched in horror as the entity raised its hand and the stone floor beneath Marcus began to crawl up his legs like liquid rock. He tried to pull his feet away, but his lower body had already turned into solid cold stone. The petrification was spreading rapidly up his torso, suffocating his lungs and freezing his blood. His final screams were cut short as the stone reached his throat, encasing him in an eternal prison of rock. The next morning, a group of brave villagers found Marcus's abandoned backpack near the temple entrance. Inside they found his camera completely intact. When they played the footage, the video showed the empty temple chamber and a brand new stone statue standing near the altar. The statue had the exact face of Marcus, twisted in an everlasting scream of terror. The village elders immediately buried the camera deep in the forest, hoping to bury the curse with it. But some secrets refused to stay hidden. Travelers still claim that if you stand near the forest edge at midnight, you can hear a faint, desperate voice calling out in English, begging for someone to turn off the camera. The temple stands there to this day, waiting for the next skeptic to walk through its doors. So if you ever find yourself traveling through the forgotten paths of the world and come across an ancient shrine with no name, remember the story of Marcus. Some places do not want to be discovered and some gods do not want to be filmed. Turn your camera off and walk away before you become the next carving on the wall.